pick scripts and we make movies that no one else can finish, if that makes sense. So like if
the joke has always been like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to cut it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Good luck, Harvey.
Exactly.
Yeah. This one we sort of made a mess
on purpose.
On purpose, knowing like, great, the project of the movie is cleaning that mess up. You can really derail a filmmaker with like a note, like
just one wrong
can just really like send them on a spiral for weeks or months, and sometimes it feels like people aren't careful.
Our producer only started doing that recently,
and he's like, "Oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry." But like on the receiving end, I think what was so inspiring about getting contradictory notes was like it helped us not spiral and helped us realize like. For us, like sometimes more is better.
Yeah.
You know, like because once you have like a couple to choose from, then no one note can just like spiral us too hard because you have like, okay, there's a conversation out there. People aren't all gonna agree. Like, right. And sometimes the filmmaking process can be the opposite, where it's like you send it to the executive sends the notes, and I think that's like an unhelpful, like binary like way of doing it, and we much prefer like. Let's collect a variety of reactions and then choose for ourselves how to change things.
Or usually what it means, if there is a variety of reactions, usually it means there's actually a note behind the note. You know, like what's the actual? It's not the symptom. It's the root of the problem. That's always what you're looking for. It's like, I don't understand. What is it? What is it for? What's it mean? Like, it means nothing. It's like it's meant to symbolize this unknowable whatever feeling of emptiness, and they just couldn't get behind it. And so they kept bringing it up every draft, and then finally every cut they kept bringing it up. And
I think like their point was like they were convinced that was the thing the audience would talk about, was this as the hole in the plot, you know. And we were like, well, I want the audience to put their own interpretation onto it. But I think where you're going is that we found a note behind the note. Joy/Jobu's relationship to the bagel wasn't clear enough. And that did matter to us. And we were like, oh, it doesn't matter like how it works as a doomsday device, but like why she made it or how she feels about it or why she's trying to jump into it at the end matters a ton.
Right.
And so that was kind of like, so we went and did some ADR adjustments and kind of and in the edit kept trying to like focus in on that. The weird thing is that the note did help make the movie better.
Exactly.
And so like it was like one of those situations where like as frustrating as it was at times, that pushback is so valuable. And it's like it's not like in some ways the success of this movie scares me because I want a healthy amount of pushback.
We're always just debating, okay, what is actually worth putting the time and money into, and what is something that we can just basically either cut or shoot in the most minimal way.
A lot of times I think we do everything as practically as possible and use visual effects to save money.
Yeah.
We don't use visual effects to tell the story, usually. Yeah. We use it to like keep the set safe or to save money.
Answer, but we treat this stuff almost like engineering, or obviously there's a real art to writing and there's poetry to it, but I like to think of these things as like architecture, where you're trying to build something really special that is going to somehow get past the audience's defense mechanisms so that they can actually feel something, which is really why we make movies for ourselves, is because we've seen so many things that we're like, give me something fresh, give me something that I'm not expecting, give me an emotion that I haven't seen in the movie, but I felt in my real life.
I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was like Helen Mirren or someone was like, the key to writing more female roles in films is call them she. Sometimes the story's not about gender, or like sometimes, you know, but in this case it was a huge shift but like the movie wasn't good yet, so it didn't feel like tectonic. It felt like we were still kind of clawing through the dark, and once we did change that, like it got so much better. And we because like we have interesting moms and aunts, and suddenly it felt like an action film we hadn't seen over and over again, which like when we were writing the first draft, that was something we were really hitting our heads against, was just like, this, like, how do we make this feel different than like every other, like, you know, guy swept up on an action adventure. And then once it was like a mom and her child at the center of it, we just had all these new ideas. Like the script changed so much, and like, yeah, it was like.
So thank you, Jackie Chan, for passing.
Oh, thank you.
But I mean, to be fair, also the funny thing was Michelle Yeoh was always the wife. It was going to be Jackie and Michelle, so she was actually going to play Wayman's role. And then
so it also made the pivot so easy because we'd already spent years thinking about her, rewatching her work, obsessing over her. Yeah. There was already like the other lead was already her, and we're like, that character is interesting. She's interesting. We're already in love with her. Like, let's focus on her more.
Yeah.